Welcome to the big story. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Marcoses.
Tonight's big stories. Vice President Sara Duterte shows up to a House hearing on her OVP budget in fighting mode. She refuses to take the oath, questions the legitimacy of the proceedings, then leaves without answering a single question.
When asked about her political plans, Duterte was sure about one thing. She says she will never again team up with the Marcoses. She also said she was never friends with the president to begin with.
And as promised, the Justice Department has filed Alice Guo's first non-bailable criminal charge, as a dismissed Bamban mayor will be tried for qualified human trafficking on top of a host of other cases she is facing.
Well, Vice President Sara Duterte is very much the talk of town in social media today after she showed up to the House hearing on her office's use of funds in fighting mode.
First, she refused to take the oath. Former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo tried to come to her defense, but the Vice President told her not to stress.
Then, in a fiery statement she read before lawmakers, she accused them of laying the groundwork for her impeachment. Marian Enriquez has this report.
The mood was tense from the start at Wednesday's hearing of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability already. When the standard oath was about to be administered to resource persons and witnesses, Vice President Sara Duterte was up in arms and refused to take it.
Ang nasa rules ninyo, witnesses lang po ang nag-o-oath. Wala po kayong rules sa resource persons.
Yung term lang po yun pero considered as a resource person din po kayo
Coming to Duterte's rescue was her ally, Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who has been referred to as her political mentor as well. The former president turned Pampanga representative cited a Supreme Court decision that supposedly said witnesses, the accused, and resource persons during legislative hearings are not the same. After a brief suspension of the proceedings, lawmakers were back on the issue of the VP refusing to take oath.
We cannot just trivialize. Kasi you're just a witness. You're a witness. Pareho na rin yung witness, resource person. They are not the same. The Supreme Court says they are not the same.
Mr. Chair, this is an inquiry in aid of legislation and no one is technically accused of any wrongdoing here, Mr. Chair.
And then another suspension of the hearing at the request of Duterte. At this point, she huddled with Arroyo for a while, then shook hands with Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. The lawmaker told the Vice President not to stress. When the hearing resumed,
Mr. Chair, may I speak?
You will be given the opportunity later,
Okay.
Madam Vice President.
in the end, Chua's committee relented and did not compel Duterte to take an oath like the rest of the resource persons. The hearing came about because of the privileged speech of Manila's 2nd District Representative Rolando Valeriano on September 3. The congressman questioned the office of the Vice President's spending in the last couple of years.
Hindi nararapat sa atin, lalo na't siya'y nag-aambisyon na maging Pangulo, ang ayaw magsabi kung saan ginastos ang pondo ng bayan. Sino ba talaga ang pinaglilingkuran niya? Baka naman ang boss niya ay humaharang sa bangka ng mga Pilipinong mangingisda o ang mga promotor ng Pogo.
And while the hearing was supposed to center on the OVP's budget, Duterte, as head of the office, did not answer a single question about it. Not under oath, Duterte used her time instead to attack the lawmakers.
What we are witnessing now is no ordinary legislative inquiry. This exercise is a well-funded and coordinated political attack. This much is evident from the very words of the privileged speech that prompted this inquiry. A speech that simply meant to say, do not vote for Sara on 2028.
She also claimed that the hearing was just a rehearsal for the bigger plan to kick her out as vice president through impeachment.
So you may try to destroy me, you can skin me alive, and throw my ashes to the wind. But let it be known, you will find me unbowed. I will continue to serve the Filipino people no matter the personal cost. or political intrigue.
Recall that in the last hearing on the OVP's budget, Duterte was repeatedly asked about her confidential funds worth 125 million pesos. That's because the Commission on Audit issued a notice of disallowance on 73 million pesos of that, which basically means she has to return the money or appeal the decision by submitting evidence. But Duterte is adamant her office did nothing wrong.
As we have done last year, we again leave the 2025 OVP budget to the pleasure of Congressman Martin Romualdez. If you feel that all the documentary submissions are not enough, then by all means, huwag kayo magbigay ng budget.
The Vice President decided to leave around noon without answering any questions. Speaker Martin Romualdez has yet to comment on the Vice President's accusations. Congressmen also insisted that they are just doing their job, scrutinizing the national budget, and that there is no campaign among them to impeach Duterte. For now, it's not clear if Duterte will attend another inquiry into her office's fund use, or for that matter, plenary debates on the OVP's 2025 budget scheduled for September 23. For News 5, Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
If you think that was the end of it, you're wrong. Reporters chased after Vice President Sara Duterte after she walked out of the House hearing, hoping to catch her for an ambush interview. She was asked a number of things, including if she was thinking of running in 2028 and whether she'd team up with the Marcoses again. Duterte's clipped answer, smile, and body language said it all.
Pero kayo ba, tatakbo ba kayo 2028?
Sa ngayon, this very minute, magsasabi ako kung tatakbo ako sa fourth quarter ng 2026.
Never again not to be with the Marcoses?
Oh, never again.
Why, ma'am?
Sit down tayo.
It was only 2 years ago when the Marcos-Duterte tandem swept the national elections, each of them getting overwhelming votes of over 31 million. After winning, Duterte got a plum post, education secretary, although pundits believe she really wanted the defense post. Cracks in the Uni team began to show not long after, with even the vice president's family being openly critical of the administration. Later on, the president's allies began speaking out against the Dutertes too. In April this year, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos famously said of the Vice President, "Bad shot na yan sa akin." While these were going on, the top two officials of the land tried to project a semblance of normalcy, insisting that the Uni team was still intact. There was even a time when the president called Duterte his BFF, or best friend forever. But today, the gloves came off and Duterte finally admitted she was never friends with PBBM at any point, and that Uni team was just an alliance made for the 2022 elections.
Hindi kami magkaibigan. Unang-una, nagkakilala lang kami dahil naging running mate kami. Nagkausap lang kami during campaign at dahil sa trabaho noon. But ngayon, hindi na kami nagkakausap. Ang kaibigan ko talaga si Senator Amy Marcos.
Okay, so much to unpack today. We knew we had to bring in the man at the center of it, House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability Chair, Congressman Joel Chua. He joins us over the phone, I believe. Welcome back to the program, Congressman Chua.
Hi, good evening, and thanks for having me.
Wow, Congressman Chua, kakasalang mo lang, no? You just sat in the chairman's seat and already all of this has happened. First of all, what did you think of what happened today, specifically when the Vice President refused to take the oath, and even though you kept insisting that the oath was administered to all witnesses and resource persons?
Well, of course, we accorded the Vice President the due respect her office deserves. And alam po ninyo, we do not want to make this a big fuss out of it. But at the end of the day, like what I said during the committee hearing, this will not be a precedent. We just extended courtesy to the office of the Vice President.
Okay, so you're drawing a line. So this is just out of courtesy to her today, but it's not that you're going to be granting the same courtesy in future sessions, correct?
Definitely, especially to the resource person as well as to the staff of the Office of the Vice President.
The former president, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, says that witnesses and resource persons are not the same thing under a Supreme Court ruling. Was she right? Was she correct?
Well, the legal basis that the former president was mentioning was at that in that case, I think the person involved was already accused. But even if that is the case, under our rules, whether you are an accused or there is a pending case, still the committee can still investigate on any person as long as they have found to be or there is an allegation of malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance. Lahat po, anything that that will involve public interest, lahat po yan, we can always, at any time, we can always investigate. Now, under our rules, we can also cite in contempt anyone who refused to be sworn in. But because of the nature of the office of the Vice President, we accorded the respect due to her office.
Congressman, how do you plan to get her to speak? Because today there was no answers, no answers at all about the misuse or malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance of the use of funds. Instead, she turned the tables on the House committee and said that this was a well-funded, well-coordinated political attack. How do you plan to get her to talk, and does that merit citing her in contempt?
Well, actually, that is the we are giving the Vice President the opportunity to ventilate all issues thrown against her. This is the right and the proper forum to do so. But if the Vice President will refuse to answer, then at least we are giving her due process. Alam po ninyo, even in the court of law, no, if you will not answer, you are waiving your right to defend yourself.
Well, she did say that this was an inquiry and possible, probably leading to impeachment, trying to find grounds for impeachment rather, and that she refuses to participate in that. What would you have to say?
Well, this inquiry is in aid of legislation. The fact that this is in aid of legislation, what we are trying to do right now is to find laws and look at it if there is loopholes. Like for example, the use of confidential fund, whether or not all agencies can use it. Like a while ago, like what I said, that I believe that we should pass laws that will limit the agencies or department who can use confidential funds. Now, with respect to the issue of impeachment, that I do not know yet, but what we are doing right now is in aid of legislation.
Wait, Congressman, which funds of the Vice President are you looking to put the spotlight on? You talked about the confidential funds, but apart from that, where did you find issue and which are you planning to raise?
Well, actually, there were several issues that were raised a while ago. Like, for example, the notice of disallowance that based on the audit report of the COA amounting to more than 70 million. Apparently, it was used against or not in accordance with what the what the COA circular provides. So, yan, isa na po yan. So, yun po.
Congressman, after today's hearing, Vice President Sara Duterte faced reporters in an ambush interview, and she did say that she showed up today dahil para matapos na at para masabi ko na kung ano yung posisyon ko. Congressman, what's next in this hearing? How can we, are you still looking to invite the Vice President to future hearings?
Of course, we will always invite the Vice President being the party in interest, and it is up to the Vice President if she will cooperate or not. Well, if that is the case, then she is waiving her right to defend herself and to ventilate issues that concerns her department or office.
Did you ever find out the reason why she had to leave early, Congressman?
Well, in fairness to the Vice President, she did ask permission from the chair, from me.
But you never found out the reason, sir?
Well, it would be futile on the part of the committee to hold the Vice President there, considering that she did not take her oath. So we cannot elicit questions from the Vice President. So what's the point of holding her up?
Well, to begin with, did you know that she was appearing today? I think it surprised a few people, but you yourself, did you know?
Well, we just invited her, so it's her right to appear. And I believe that she should appear, at least, to ventilate issues.
Okay. One other, or a couple of other people who turned up today was the audit team that actually issued the notice of disallowance. And finally, we got some answers. And they said that if you get a notice of disallowance, you basically only have two options. One is to return the money or file an appeal. As far as you know, has the OVP filed an appeal?
I think they have yet to file an appeal.
Okay, so what happens then, Congressman Chua? Do you lawmakers then have to wait for the appeal, or can you make a decision and move forward without it?
No, we can. We don't. There's no need for us to wait. What we are looking at is if there is any loopholes in the laws, or if there is any violation that was committed. So we can push, or we can go with the hearing.
Well, Congressman, if the Office of the Vice President fails to submit an explanation on that notice of disallowance, ano po yung posibleng mangyari dito nga sa kanilang opisina? Can cases be filed? What are the next steps? What can you recommend if there will be no answer from the OVP?
Well, iba po yung sa amin. Iba rin po dun sa COA. Of course, there are set of rules that needs to be followed. But insofar as the committee is concerned, basta kami tuloy-tuloy lang.
Are you also looking to bring in resource persons from the Department of Education? Because I believe they're also looking at the spending on the ICT equipment na parang 19.22% lang yung nagastos doon sa I think 11 point something billion pesos.
We have already invited the resource person. It was Congressman Abante who manifested a while ago to invite representative of DepEd during the term of the Vice President when she was still the Secretary of DepEd. So we are going to issue invitation to these people.
Will that be the next agenda for the next hearing?
Well, actually, it was part of the agenda a while ago based on the motu proprio, based on the manifestation of Congressman Jinky Luistro during the committee hearing. And it just so happened that we were not able to invite certain persons because kanina nga lang po na isa lang yung motu proprio.
Okay. We're going to have to leave that there for now. We know you have something to get to, but thank you so much for talking to us again. That was Representative Joel Chua, Chairman of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability.
Well, we're going to be pausing for a quick break, but up next, the PNP begins digging around to uncover who that former PNP chief was who was reportedly on Alice Guo's payroll. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're watching the big story here on One News.
The PNP is scrambling to investigate after a PAGCOR official revealed in a Senate inquiry that a former PNP chief accepted bribes from Pogo players. Some former police chiefs are up in arms, calling it unfair. Brian Castillo has the report.
There are 29 generals who have served as PNP chief. 5 of them have already passed away. In yesterday's Senate hearing on Pogos, PAGCOR Senior Vice President Raul Villanueva claimed that the former PNP chief accepted bribes from Pogos and even helped Alice Go escape. The PNP leadership is now investigating the 24 remaining former PNP chiefs.
Napaka-general nung sinabi, former chief PNP, hindi sinabi na during the time na nag-start ang Pogo. So everybody who's served as chief PNP is a suspect. As soon as we have the names, as soon as General Villanueva will reveal who's this person, I think all this former chief PNP is a suspect.
If the allegations are proven true, PNP Chief Romel Marbil said they will not hesitate to file a case against the former PNP chief involved. They will also find out if there are other police officers involved in illegal Pogo operations.
There is no sacred cow dito sa gagawing investigation, even if it means holding liable ang isang former chief PNP.
Marbil has ordered the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group or CIDG to gather more information from PAGCOR. Meanwhile, some former PNP chiefs have weighed in on the issue. Retired General Benjamin Acorda said Villanueva should name the PNP chief he is referring to so the person would be able to defend himself. He said the integrity of former PNP chiefs is at stake here. For former PNP chief Rodolfo Azurin Jr., Villanueva's statements were irresponsible and uncalled for. He said the insinuations are unfair to former PNP chiefs like him. Azurin challenged Villanueva to provide evidence or else the PNP can file a case against him. For his part, former PNP chief Oscar Albayalde said he has never encountered or met Alice Go. Former Senator and PNP chief Panfilo Lacson is not surprised if Go was in cahoots with Will police officer and government officials, considering the extent of her influence and Pogo operations. But Lacson said it will be alarming if it's true that the former PNP chief is involved and anyone at fault should be held accountable. Senator and former PNP chief Bato de la Rosa said he will compel Villanueva to drop a name in the next hearing.
Yan ay intelligence information lamang without any evidentiary value. You cannot pin down anybody through intelligence reports because intelligence reports have no evidentiary value and it will not stand in court. So dapat, bago nila nilabas yun, kinonfirm muna, binalidate ng husto, at once validated, dapat alamin kung sino talaga yun at isabi yung pangalan. Hindi yung sabihin lang na parang na former chief PNP, para bang nagkakaroon tuloy ng pagdududa yung tao na ano ba ito? Is this part of a grand political plan? Para tuloy kasama sa marites lang yan. He was a former ISAP, I don't know kung siya ba yung naging chief ng ISAP or ano ba sabi niya, basta sabi nila formerly with ISAP daw. Ganun na palang produkto ng ISAP.
De La Rosa also stressed he never accepted any bribe from Go and that he never helped her. For News 5, Brian Castillo, we are One News.
The Justice Department has filed a qualified human trafficking case against dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Go for her alleged involvement in illegal pogos. Camille Samonte has the details.
As promised, the DOJ has filed a case of qualified human trafficking at the Pasig City Regional Trial Court against Alice Go and her alleged business partners in the raided Pogo Hub in Bamban, Tarlac. The case was transferred to Pasig in accordance with the Supreme Court's order after the Justice Department requested that it be heard in Metro Manila. This is the first non-bailable case filed against the former mayor.
As soon as the warrants of arrest are out from the Pasig Trial Court, then we can expect to take custody of Ms. Alice Guo despite or if ever she is released already from Senate.
In addition to Go, her alleged business partner Wang Ziyang, reportedly the big boss of the Pogos and a fugitive in China, is also implicated in the case. Zhang Ruijin and Lin Baoying, who have both been convicted in a billion-dollar money laundering case in Singapore, have also been charged. Other officials and incorporators of the Pogo companies Hong Sheng and Zunyuan Technology, including the representative Dennis Cunanan, are also involved. The Senate will conclude its hearings on Pogos next week. The DOJ says it will ensure that Alice Go does not have another chance to escape once the Senate's contempt order against her is lifted. Once the contempt order is lifted, the Senate will be obligated to release Go. The DOJ is hoping that the court will immediately issue an arrest warrant so that custody of the former mayor can be transferred.
It would be in our favor na hindi siya makawala. So we do hope na these warrants of arrest are issued in such a timely manner para wala na pong interregnum or interruption dun sa custody ni former Mayor Alice Guo.
For now, Go remains at the PNP custodial facility. She is being held on 2 counts of graft initially filed in Capas, Tarlac, but later transferred to Valenzuela. According to Go's lawyer, they plan to post bail once the contempt order is lifted so that Go can be released. Go apparently promised that she will not attempt to flee again.
Mas maganda na yung hinaharap lahat. Yan talaga ang pag-usapan namin.
In addition, the DOJ plans to file a complaint with the Supreme Court against Go's lawyer and the attorney who notarized her counter-affidavit.
Para sa amin, na wala naman duda na peke yung counter-affidavit, hindi dapat tinutularan yung ganyang mga galawan ng mga abogado. Meron kaming kasong ihahain sa Korte Suprema na yung disciplinary case para dun sa mga possible misbehavior ng mga abogado.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Well, Alice Go will also be taking center stage at the House Quad Committee hearing tomorrow. The Valenzuela court has just released its order approving her appearance there and directing the PNP to escort her. Go currently can't be brought to Congress without prior court approval. Also getting an invite to tomorrow is former presidential spokesman Harry Roque, who at this point still cannot be located despite PNP tracker teams having gone to his registered addresses. Roque was cited in contempt and ordered detained on September 13 after he refused to submit documents to justify his family's increase in wealth. Lawmakers pointed out that the valuation of Biancham Holdings, which Roque owns and which has been linked to Lucky South 99, jumped from just 125,000 pesos in 2014 to between 125 and 150 million pesos just a few years later. In a video posted on Facebook, Roque insisted that he doesn't know why these documents are relevant to the hearing.
Kaya nga po ako nagtataka kung bakit ang hinihingi nila mga dokumento ay wala naman po kinalaman doon sa pagbuo ng batas tungkol po sa Pogo. Eh, tignan nyo naman po yan. Medical records ko. Wala naman po kinalaman yan sa kung nakakabuti o hindi ang Pogo, no? Yung ang mga ari-arian ko, wala rin po kinalaman yan kung hindi ay nakakabuti sa bayan, no? Kung ang Pogo ay nakakabuti sa bayan. Siguro gusto nilang malaman kung nagbigay sa akin ng pondo ang mga Pogo. Well, in which case, sila dapat ang magpresenta ng ebidensya. At kung ang aligasyon ay may binigay na pera ang Pogo sa akin, yan po ay po pwedeng maging paglabag sa batas. Miski galing sa Pogo yan, hindi naman illegal noon ang Pogo.
Okay, joining us tonight to discuss this issue is Surigao del Sur Congressman Johnny Pimentel. Good evening, Congressman Pimentel. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening to all of you and to your viewers.
Okay.
Magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po, Congressman. Thanks for sticking around and waiting for us. First, can I have you react to what former presidential spokesman Harry Roque just said? I don't know if you heard the full thing, but essentially he's saying that the documents that you guys are asking for are not relevant, that you guys have to be the ones to show evidence. And that,
on the contrary, I think all the documents that you are actually, this is what happened. I think on the third hearing, we issued a subpoena ducis tecum for him to produce and submit to the committee pertinent documents relative to the inquiry. No, one of these documents is the deed of sale of the lot of the multinational subdivision in Parañaque, because as we have presented earlier, the paid-up capital of Biancham Holdings was only 125,000 pesos in 2014. However, after 4 years, it went up to 125 million pesos to 150 million pesos. So that's quite a big jump from 125,000 pesos. What we would like to know is whether this big amount of money came from the POG operations, because it is very coincidental that during this time, Mr. Harry Roque or Attorney Harry Roque was already involved in the operations of the POGO in Porac, Pampanga. So that is why I do not understand why he cannot produce the simple documents. No? So because of his non-cooperation and non-submission of these documents, since we already issued a subpoena ducis tecum and he did not comply it, then we had to cite him for contempt. Because under our House Rule, Section 11, Paragraph 3, any resource person who does not produce or submit documents that are needed or relevant to the inquiry can be cited for contempt.
Right.
In addition for the motion to cite him for contempt, there is a corresponding motion to detain him at the premises of Congress.
Right.
And that is why there was an order of detention issued to him last Friday and directing the Sergeant at Arms to coordinate with the Philippine National Police to bring him to the premises of Congress. That is really exactly what the situation is now.
Right, right. Congressman, I don't know if you heard our prior story before we got to you, but we reported on that increase in wealth in Biancham. But one of Attorney Roque's defenses is that at that time, Pogos were legal naman, which is correct. They were only banned recently, right? So what sort of all of this is in aid of legislation. So what kind of linkages, what kind of changes to the law are you looking to do here?
Well, one of these is, of course, we can pass a law which will totally ban the operations of POGO. For now, I believe that the revocation of the POGO license were due to the pronouncement of President Marcos during the SONA. But actually, there is no law prohibiting the operations of POGO. So to strengthen this plan to really stop illegal POGO operations, then we can pass a law which is mas matibay kung meron talagang batas, hindi po ba? Those are the one of the possible legislation that we could do. And of course, this will be incorporated in the committee report. Hindi pa rin po tapos din ang ating kwantong hearings, so we cannot definitely say what kind of legislation that we will pass with regards to this problem.
Congressman, the House Quad Committee hearing resumes tomorrow. Who are we expecting to come? I believe that the spotlight has also been put on banks in their role in flagging the transfer of money in anti-money laundering control. Will resource persons from these banks be invited? And also pati po yung mga lawyer ng team ni Alice Go. There are reports that they are complicit to the filing of a fake counter affidavit because parang yung signature daw ay hindi pareho sa original signature ni Alice Go.
No, tomorrow, no? Because tomorrow will be the first time that Alice Go will appear in the hearing. The Senate has already gave its permission for Alice Go to attend the hearing tomorrow. At the moment, for the previous hearings, what we were deliberating was on the case of Lucky South 99, which was with regards to the operation of POGO in Porac, Pampanga. We have not yet discussed the operation in Bamban, Tarlac. So, and I also understand or already know that there was already a case filed by AMLA with regards to the money laundering case of Alice Go and Cassandra Leong. And part of this case, I'm sure that AMLA will be coordinating with the banks to produce the bank accounts of Alice Go and Cassandra Leong. Um, uh, During the court hearings, well, supposedly we prepared a waiver for us to open the bank accounts of Cassandra Leong. Uh, Initially, she was okay siya na buksan yung bank accounts niya, but then it was overtaken by the filing of case of AMLA. Since there was already case filed by AMLA, nag-back out si Cassandra Leong. So now it's up to AMLA to compel the banks to produce the bank accounts.
Okay, Congressman, as you mentioned, tomorrow will be the first time that Alice Go will face Congress since her arrest. She's already appeared at the Senate twice, September 9 and September 17. But in both those hearings, senators barely got anything out of Alice Go. She kept invoking her right against self-incrimination. So are you expecting the same behavior from Alice tomorrow, or how can you get her to speak at tomorrow's hearing?
Yes, that is true. We already have some apprehensions, but because I've said all these hearings, whether in the Senate or in Congress, was overtaken by the filing of cases. So just like during the previous hearing, Cassandra Leong, when every time that there's a question asked, she always answers, sinasabi niya, there is already a case filed, and I would like to invoke my right to self-incriminations because you might divulge information that might incriminate her in their cases with AMLA. That is true. Medyo it will be, I think, difficult to ask questions to them, and I don't really know if they will intend to answer because yun na nga, we are spooked by the case that was filed by AMLA.
We also told our sister program Storycon, Congressman Pimentel, that you are willing to take the hearings to Davao to be closer to former President Duterte. Just
Correct.
to, okay.
Correct, that is true. There is a plan to conduct the hearings in Davao because if you recall, on the third hearing, we formally and or officially invited former President Duterte to attend the hearings. And again, I believe that this should be reiterated again tomorrow, not as a subpoena, not as a show cause order, but rather an invitation to show that we are giving a due courtesy to the former president. So we will reiterate our invitation and we plan to go to Davao to be closer. Kasi siyempre, medyo baka nahirapan si President Duterte pumunta dito sa Manila. So what we intend to do is bring the hearing to Davao itself. Yeah. And I believe that why we are doing this because we want to give an opportunity, a chance to the former president to clear his name and to air his side also.
Are you optimistic that he might show up? Has there been any communication from the former president that, to the House, to the lower house?
In communication from the president, there was no reply from our invitation. But in any case, I believe that we will proceed with our plan to go to Davao.
What about coming back to former presidential spokes Harry Roque, do you have any inkling at this point where he might be? May intelligence, are you getting any intelligence on that?
Last Friday, the Sergeant at Arms, together with the PNP authorities, served the order of detention to 2 addresses that he gave in the committee hearing, no? Dalawang address pang binigay niya. However, he was not there. And PNP Chief Marbel has already created a special tracker team composed of CIDG personnel and other police divisions to track down Mr. Harry Roque. So this is the fourth day that the police authorities are looking for him, and there's still no sign of Attorney Harry Roque.
It does sound a little bit like the manhunt for Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, right?
Sabi niya he's not a fugitive, Congressman Pimentel. He says,
Well, first, let us define the word fugitive. What is really the meaning of fugitive? According to Oxford Dictionary, a fugitive is a person who is in hiding to evade arrest and persecution. Ano po bang ginagawa ni Harry Roque? That is exactly what he's doing. O the definition of a fugitive, that is exactly yung ginagawa niya ngayon. He's into hiding so that he could arrest and persecution. So ano po bang tawag natin doon?
I guess his point is that you're not a court of law, right? And he only answers to a court of law, which is why he filed a motion to quash the arrest order.
That is true. In fact, it's not called a warrant of arrest, no? It's called an order of detention, directing the sergeant at arms to detain the resource person or to bring the resource persons to the premises of Congress. However, it still has an effect of a warrant of arrest. Kaya nga si Alice Go she's now in the Senate because again of an order of a detention. She was brought to the Senate, even though that there was already a warrant of arrest from DOJ, but still DOJ respects the power of the Senate to conduct hearings and to issue this order of detention. Just the same, as I've said, it has an effect of warrant of arrest. Meron na rin siyang arrest order. So even though we're not in the court of law, but we are still exercising our rights. It's very clear in the Constitution. Congress, including the Senate and House of Representatives, can conduct hearings in aid of inquiries in accordance with the rules of governing procedure. And under our rules, if a person cannot produce documents due to the subpoena ducis tecum, he can be cited for contempt. And this, the Constitution gives the Congress the power of contempt.
Okay, Congressman, quickly.
So everything is legal.
Congressman, I also wanted to get your reaction po to former presidential spokesman Harry Roque saying or accusing Congress of power tripping. He did say in that 14-minute-long Facebook Live video na hindi po tama yung ginagawa nila na pasigaw-sigaw kapag ayaw ng sagot, contempt agad. What's your reaction to this, sir?
I don't think we've been shouting at him. We were very cautious. You can review the proceedings. Hindi naman po namin siya binabastos, giving him due courtesy. And likewise, we also expect courtesy from him. That is just his excuse so that he will not appear.
Congressman,
you know, if a person is not guilty, like for example, one of our resource persons, Ronaldin Baterna, every time that we invite her, she comes. She tells the truth. So, ano bang kinatago ni Harry Roque? Why doesn't he want to appear in the hearings? We are extending due courtesy to him. I don't think that we are power tripping. This is inducted earlier under the Constitution. We are authorized, we are allowed to conduct hearings. And since time immemorial, mula nung nagka-kongreso po, we have been having hearings. Thousands of hearings. We have issued contempt orders to hundreds of persons. It is within the power of Congress to do that.
Is it correct, Congressman, that it was the former spokesperson who volunteered to submit his documents?
That is not true. He did not volunteer. We have been asking that for the past several hearings. He did not provide. That is why kung sinabit niya yun, we will not issue the subpoena ducis tecum if we voluntarily submitted it. But the fact remains, even if we verify it from the committee secretariat, there is no document that he has submitted, not a single document. We are subpoenaed, I think, about 6 pertinent documents. Not a single document has been submitted to the committee.
Congressman, what are your plans to get the former president to attend the hearings? I mean, just taking a look at the situation, how far are you willing to go? Will that case also head this path?
Well, at the moment, what you have said earlier, we plan to go to Davao. Then if the former president does not appear, then it will be discussed in the committee members what will be our next move.
So pwede rin po ma-cite in contempt yung dating presidente kung sakali hindi po siya pumunta dito sa mga hearing po.
Well, that is possible. That is why it should be discussed among the members. Of course, you know, before you can cite a contempt to a resource person, there must be a majority vote. So there must be a consensus among members. We vote on that before we can cite for contempt a resource person. Right. So we have not come to that point. At the moment, we'll just reiterate our invitation, and then we'll go to Davao, and if he does not appear, then we will plan our next move.
Okay. We're running out of time, Congressman Pimentel, but just one last very quick question. If you could answer in 30 seconds, that'll be great. Can I just have you react to what Vice President Sara Duterte said today? She said basically the lower house is making a case for her impeachment, that you're not really targeting the budget, you're targeting her, that all of this is a political attack on her. Can I have your reaction, please?
At the moment, there is really no motion or a resolution that has been filed in Congress to impeach Vice President Sara Duterte. And at the moment, as far as I'm concerned, I have no really idea. I have not heard of anything regarding to take action on the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte.
Okay, very clear. We're going to have to leave that there. Thank you so much for your thoughts tonight, Surigao del Sur Congressman Johnny Pimentel. Moving on to another wanted character, I should say. Lloyd Christopher Lau has been arrested in Davao City this morning. Lau, if you recall, was the former officer in charge of the Budget Department's procurement service under the Duterte administration, allegedly involved in the anomalous purchase of medical supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic. He had a standing arrest warrant from the Sandigan Bayan for a graft case. In August, the Office of the Ombudsman filed a case against Lau and former Health Secretary Francisco Duque over the illegal transfer of 41 billion pesos worth of public funds from the DOH to the DBM procurement service. The money was used to purchase test kits and other medical supplies. The court has allowed Lau to post a 90,000 peso bail, which former Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Senator Richard Gordon said is too small.
Meanwhile, the death toll from tropical cyclones Ferdy and Hiner, as well as the enhanced Habagat, has risen to 20. Citing initial reports, the NDRRMC said 9 fatalities were reported in Mimaropa, 4 each in Western Visayas and Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, 2 in Zamboanga Peninsula, and 1 in Central Visayas. 14 people remain missing. Ferdy left the Philippine Area of Responsibility on September 14, while Hiner exited this morning. Pag-asa continues to monitor Tropical Storm Helen, which entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility last night. Helen, though, is too far from land to have any effect, but it continues to gain strength as it moves northwestward. It is expected to leave PAR tonight. Despite having no active weather system close to the Philippines, both Hiner and Helen are forecast to enhance the Habagat, which will continue to bring rains across the country.
And before we go, here's our big picture tonight. Well, it's a bigger moon gracing the sky tonight. Commonly known as a supermoon, this astronomical phenomenon occurs when the closest approach of the moon to the Earth, referred to as perigee, coincides with a full moon. As you can see in this photo from Pag-asa, a supermoon is about 7% bigger and 15% brighter than a regular full moon. If the weather permits, cinephiles will be able to observe the supermoon tonight from 6:08 p.m. until it sets at 5:36 a.m. tomorrow.
But that's exactly it. How can I see it?
If it's raining.
It's raining.
She just read the weather stories.
Hindi, baka yan
Gretchen,
yung
explain to me.
Baka yan yung dahilan, kaya wala akong signal sa smart.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of...
So something to do with the waxing and waning of the moon, and of the tides, nasira yung ano?
But, you know, to be honest, traffic was so bad today on the roads. And I think, sabi ko nga, suspended yung classes kahapon, ano? Tapos today, parang
I don't know,
kahapon hindi masyado
some
umulan.
yesterday,
Oo,
some yesterday.
Today umulan. Tapos the traffic was so bad, and I didn't have signal with Smart. Sabi ko, is the reason why it's traffic? Because people were on their phones.
Right.
But now Smart actually has an announcement on that, and they say that subscribers may experience intermittent services due to a power issue in one of our facilities, and their teams are working to restore services as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience, and we apologize for the inconvenience.
So it could have been related to the weather. We don't know.
Or the supermoon.
At this point.
The supermoon.
You want to connect the dots for me here because I'm missing a few.
Weather. It's the weather. It's probably the weather.
But yeah, it should be interesting to see. I'm into the whole astrology, but hopefully we can see it.
Now when we step out of the office, for sure we'll take a peek at the sky if it's not raining. So
hopefully the traffic is eased up.
And hopefully
because it was pretty bad.
The signal comes back.
Because it has eased up. I had signal the whole time.
Lots of hoping I'm doing for tonight.
Baka you didn't pay your bill.
Yun pala yun. All right, but for tonight, that will be our show.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.